You must have easily recognized this as the Lion Fortress, a magnificent structure hailed as the eighth wonder of the ancient world. We've mentioned this once before in a video. However, this video will be an exceptionally special journey, a piece of content that is completely different from anything you have ever watched on this channel. It can be said that this is a gift the production team wants to present to the audience as a token of gratitude, acknowledging everyone's invaluable support for the Wei-Ti universe throughout its journey of formation and development. It will no longer be just about journeys of discovery through the pages of a book, the frames of a film, or mere information online. And that will be the most authentic journey, preserved in its entirety without a hint of embellishment. You are watching the journey to explore Sigiriya, mysteries never before revealed. Re-exploring famous tourist destinations and historical sites around the world, dawn. Now, hit like and subscribe so we can start our exploration journey right away. Our journey will begin right here in the area outside this monument, where we are currently standing. Here, you might spot a few tourists and local residents visiting the architectural structure. This location is still quite far from our actual destination, so that tourists' directions seem rather superfluous. However, the natural scenery along with the well-planned pathways are also things that leave a lasting impression on us. And to visit the Lion Citadel, we need to purchase tickets, just like many other famous landmarks around the world. The ticket counter of the historical site is arranged into two separate areas. The ticket counter for international visitors is located on the left side, along with some small notes to help visitors better preserve their admission tickets. For international visitors, the adult admission ticket is $36, equivalent to approximately 900,000 Vietnamese dong. This price is considered quite high compared to other historical sites. However, it is perhaps an utterly worthy tribute to a unique structure like the Lion Fortress. After purchasing the tickets, we began walking down the path leading into the historic site. In reality, we still have a long way to go before we can reach our destination. However, compared to the area in front of the ticket counter, it's clear that the number of visitors is now significantly larger. According to archaeologists' estimates, the wall surrounding this area was constructed from approximately 3 million bricks, dating back up to 1,500 years. Despite its age, the structure remains remarkably intact, a true testament to the remarkable engineering skills of the ancients. More than 100 years ago, people still believed the royal palace was located on the flat land below, completely unaware that it was actually situated on the Lion Fortress, over 200 meters above the ground. For hundreds of years, the Lion Fortress cannon faded into obscurity, with scarcely anyone taking notice of it. It was not until 1932 that the British officially discovered it. This is quite understandable when you look around, as many remnants of massive architectural structures still remain here. Building the palace on such a spacious and flat plot of land is far more reasonable than constructing it on a rock mass over 200 meters high. After quite a long journey, we finally arrived at the foot of the Lion Fortress. Here, you can admire the full view of the structure in the distance. We are currently about 100 meters away from the Lion Fortress. The deeper you go inside, the more hidden secrets of this place you'll uncover. One rather interesting fact I learned is that for many years, numerous Sri Lankan monks have lived and practiced asceticism right at the foot of the fortress. But they were completely unaware that atop that massive rock, a magnificent palace stood. Just stop and ask the local people, and they will gladly show you where the monks have practiced for thousands of years. The Great Cliff Tombs, they created a space both for gathering and for rest. No longer intact as it was originally, but continuing our journey to conquer the Lion Fortress peak, we will pass through a narrow and fairly short path. It is composed of two large monolithic stone blocks, along with a staircase system paved with marble. You should be very careful not to slip and fall, as water trickling down from the small crevice has made the surface wet and slippery. Strange cuts appeared along both sides of the cliff walls. It is highly likely that these marks were made to facilitate climbing. The surrounding cuts on the stone slabs leave not only tourists but even archaeology experts unable to help but doubt. Do you know what those cuts are for? Right next to here, this rock formation also has the potential to have once been a place of practice for monks, as we just mentioned earlier. At the base of the fortress, you can see there are absolutely no ancient steps connecting the ground to the flat top of the structure's wall. Indeed, nowadays visitors all ascend to visit via a supplementary metal staircase system constructed in the 20th century. The steps built by the ancients all stop only halfway up the mountain, with no path whatsoever leading to the summit like the one you see over there. It is precisely for this crucial reason that even the local population remained completely unaware of Sigiriya's existence for many centuries. Climbing the steep staircase is a dizzying experience, but it leads us to the famous mirror wall, home to breathtaking ancient rock paintings. Though a millennium has passed, the lines and colors of these artworks remain as vivid as the day they were created. Known as the world's largest fresco with dimensions of 140 meters in length and 40 meters in height, the images of the Sigiriya maidens possess a captivating and elegant beauty that has been passed down through the centuries. With masterful brushwork, similar to the paintings in India's Ajanta caves, approximately 500 rock murals once covered the entire western surface of the fortress, a figure recorded in historical documents. It is unfortunate that among these, only 22 paintings remain completely intact to this day. These paintings were all drawn on steep cliff faces, at positions very high above the ground. From this position, we can observe that more clearly. How could ancient people, thousands of years ago, climb such steep cliffs to create such exquisite works of art? If you observe a bit more closely, you will notice that above the large rocks along the path to the summit, there are cut marks very similar to those on the stones at the entrance gate. Many believe this is the path created by ancient people to climb to the summit. However, transporting a large amount of construction materials up there is completely impractical. After a long journey, we have finally reached the summit, right here. Observe carefully, and you'll see it resembles a giant cake over 200 meters tall that has just been sliced by an enormous knife. I never imagined Mother Nature could be so generous, bestowing upon us a rock with a summit so flat that it could accommodate the construction of such a magnificent and splendid fortress. But if it wasn't natural, what method did the ancients use to chisel these massive stones and create spaces wide enough to serve as the foundation for the architectural structures above? Atop Lion Fortress, the most striking feature is the 3 million bricks. This naturally raises the question: where did they come from, and how were the people of the past able to transport millions of bricks up a rock face over 200 meters high? Of course, you can't just build a factory and immediately start producing bricks right there on the rocky mountain. The reason is simple: the location lacks raw materials, including clay. Therefore, the bricks must have been transported up from the ground below. And as you can see, throughout our entire journey, there are only roughly hewn stone steps. There is absolutely no staircase of any kind built to connect the ground up to this place. But that still wasn't enough. Suppose, by some miracle, we could get all the workers and materials to the summit, enough for them to complete the structure. But how did they manage to exist here throughout the entire construction period? Climbing up and down a place over 200 meters high every day just to find food really isn't a great idea, especially after an exhausting day of work. In this area, within a radius of several kilometers, there are clearly no fruit trees or food sources sufficient to sustain all of us throughout the construction period. Continuing upward, we will reach the highest point, which is also the main hall of the ancient palace. Here, you can admire the entire architectural complex in its most complete and clear view. Around the mountain fortress, there were likely once about 200 large and small water reservoirs. The most notable feature is undoubtedly the world's largest monolithic granite freshwater storage tank. The pool is 27 meters long, 20 meters wide, and over 2 meters deep. To build this reservoir, approximately 3,500 tons of granite had to be hollowed out from a single massive rock. And we all know that granite is one of the hardest stones on the planet. Using rudimentary tools like chisels, axes, or hammers to work on it is like trying to break a rock with an egg. If you think people have been quietly interfering with it for years, that idea was immediately extinguished upon seeing the deep cuts etched into the satellite's hull. The cuts are very even and precise, showing no signs of carelessness or clumsiness. Furthermore, after finishing the cutting and shaping, you must transport the leftover discarded stone fragments elsewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, where have those thousands of tons of rock disappeared to? For thousands of years of existence, the pond has never dried up in the summer, nor has it ever overflowed during the rainy season. This requires the structure to have a meticulously and accurately calculated drainage system from the design stage onward. All the extraordinary and strange phenomena we have just mentioned still lack a satisfactory explanation. If you have the chance, I think you should come here once to admire this masterpiece. It deserves to be called the eighth wonder of the ancient world. Thank you for watching today's video. Since this video was produced in a novel way, it will inevitably have some shortcomings. Vu Trung Nguyen Thuy greatly appreciates and looks forward to receiving your feedback in the comments section below the video. Now, what needs to be done is to connect to the network immediately. See you all in the upcoming videos. Wishing you a warm and cozy day with your family.